Yeah. Good morning, everyone, for joining this webinar with us today. I am Victor, the lead solution engineer here in Katalon, and I'll present you in the next 1 hour to talk about what is AI in Katalon. So let me share my screen and we can begin the session. I hope my screen is visible. So thank you again for joining this webinar today with us. Now, when we talk about AI, let's see what we have AI in Catalan. So we have primarily areas that we offer AI into. The first one we offer AI is Catalan Studio, which is the authoring capability of Catalan. And there you can manage your maintenance, self-healing, smart weights, since we have feature called Studio Assist there, which can helps you creating your test cases real quick. I'll show that in detail as well. In the next one, we have AI in desktops, which is our centralized reporting platform, which is capable of handling all the analytics or visual testing, or you have any sort of integrations that you want to perform. Yes, you can use that. We have flaky distribution, failure analysis, and that all things are a part of the AI in desktops. And then last, we have our own AI product that is TrueTest, which is AI driven, which can create your test cases from the user actions on the application. Next one, why we have desktops, what we can do with desktops. Like you can do test management, you can why the testing feel like chaos, what happens, what is not going as expected. We cannot understand the gaps very well. We cannot rely on the decision making, like how we predict or how we define the release readiness of my applications. And of course, a lot of my engineers are actually giving their time into that particular project. So it is something, the cost is also being increasing. So that's few of the areas which we need to improve using the AI. Now, in Catalan desktops, what desktops can do for you? So as you must be aware, or by this time, you know that desktops is the centralized reporting platform. What you can do with desktops, you can manage everything in one place. What you can manage, you can have your manual test cases, you can have your automated test cases, you can have your release readiness, you can have your integrations, centralized reporting, everything at one place. That accelerates your automation. If you, let's say, want to figure it out how your flaky distributions looks like, or how your test cases are failing, or what is the pattern of the failure, that also you can identify using desktops. Then, of course, everything. So let's say I have a team of 10 people and everybody is not contributing actively in the testing, but overall they are responsible for the delivery of the project. So instead of me sharing the reports to them, they can directly have everything at their fingertips in real time just by logging to desktops, or I can share the dashboards or the reports directly by using the shareable link of the Catalan dashboard. Of course, if people are coming in and out to your project, you can reassign the licenses. You have the admin portal to access all these things for you, and minimizing the tool swap. Like you need to use minimum tools and get the maximum output. So what we have for different roles, what we have to offer for desktops. The first one is for the manual engineers. You can definitely convert your requirement to manual test cases just by allowing the engine to convert it for you. The next one is the automation engineers. What the automation engineers can do, they can manual and run their automation. Sorry, they can manage and run their automation script at one place. They can quickly use the AI to understand how the failure or how the trends into the defect analysis or failure metrics looks like. QA leads and the managers, they can see the overall release readiness of the application. They can use the AI to improve the planning. They can standardize the processes. And last one for the engineering and the product leaders that we have is called, they can have access to the license. They can have access to the portal to assign the licenses to the people who are into that particular project. Now here, this particular talks through about the solutions that we have, the capabilities that we have, and of course, the AI capabilities that we are specifically into. If you are looking for a test planning, what are the planning agents do for you? You can gather the requirements, you can have the test gap analysis, you can talk through about manual and automation scripts from the test requirements. This is all in the planning phase. For the designing, you can have the gap analysis. Let's say I am working on a project which has two different areas for me. One is the QA and one is the pre-prod. And let's say the pre-prod is having a lot of scenarios where I don't have much on the UAT or the lower environments, and I want to understand which particular scenarios are part of one but not part of the another one, so I can quickly use the gap analysis part. Then we have the execution agents where you can trigger your executions from the manual test executions. Report analysis talks through detail about the failure resolution, AI briefing, and everything. And then last is the user monitoring agent, which helps you to understand what actions you have performed on the application that results in a test case, the automation test case. Now we integrate with majorly all the different areas or all the major different tools from Jenkins to TestRail to let's say X-Ray, Zephyr, Confluence, and everything, and ADO as well. Now we won't be having this one. Now, yeah, this is the high level of the QA orchestration that you can perform on desktops. As by this time, you must be aware that OK Desktops is a centralized test management, analytics, and reporting platform. Why we use it? We use it to analyze, scale, and optimize the testing efforts. This is how the dashboard looks like on the right hand side, and we have some sort of insights that are being mentioned. Accelerates the root cause and minimize the this thing, enhance the coverage and maximize the efficiency and impact. The last one is also you can do visual testing. A lot of teams ask me about like if I have Figmas, if I have wireframes, and how I can make sure the design is accurate, or I want to compare two different visuals, or in terms of my layout, in terms of my text, how I can do that. So all those things can be achieved through the visual testing module that we have in desktops. Next one is Katalon True Test. So when we talk about True Test, it is entirely an AI product which helps you to convert your user actions into test cases. How it does is, first, it captures the user interaction. Second, it generates the journey map. So journey map is something where you see the visual representation of your application with all the actions that has been performed in the set duration. So you choose to generate a journey map. The journey map will contain all the possible flows, or all the flows actually, not the possible, all the flows that has been done by your users in that specific time period. You choose which one to convert into test case, and at the end, you identify and address the gap. If something is present in a QA environment and not is being present in the lower environments or different one, you can do a gap analysis as well. With True Test, you can actually achieve 70% reduction in the creation. And with True Test, the maintenance effort that you put on your application, you can see there's zero maintenance. Like why I'm saying it's zero maintenance, because if something change in my application, you need to follow the new flow, of course. And when you convert those flows into journey maps, automatically whatsoever has been changed in your application, that is being taken care by TrueTest itself. So no need to put manual effort in order to identify the change manually, add that change into my test cases, and then run to see how it works. No, not required. Now we have Katalon Test Cloud. So Test Cloud here is like a cloud execution platform which helps you about running things on the cloud. You can use Catalan Test Cloud for any sort of cloud related execution requirements, whether it is for real devices, whether it is for virtual devices, whether it is for, let's say, you want to execute things on desktop browser, you want to do live testing, like how your application looks before even you enter into the testing part. You want to see if you want to go for build acceptance testing, sanity, smoke testing of your application, anything. So we have 150 plus devices present for you. You can choose from those devices and start the live testing from there as well. And of course, you can do your automated execution. You trigger, you want to do some sort of execution on a said mobile device for native applications, or maybe some browsers. Yes, you are allowed to do that. Now we have another AI feature called advanced self-healing. Now, the classic self-healing we also have where it is capable of understanding if there is a failure, the engine try to fix that particular failure and give you a pass report. Whether the self-healing, which is AI self-healing, is LLM powered, which is capable of going through the fallback logic, input data sources. It supports the different platforms right at the moment, web only. And also you can review and approve that, okay, if something is failing, okay, fine. Self-healing allows you to run through that particular failure and gives you a clean report and also a matrix which talks through about that this is the failure and this is the proposed fix for the failure and this is how it looks like. If you approve it, everything will be back in place. All the locators that were broken earlier would be back again. So I'll play a video for you which will talk through about the self-healing and I'm explaining what will happen over here. The first thing is we have the keywords, we have the object, we have the input output. Now I try to deliberately break one locator and give ABC as an identifier of that object. And in my self-healing inside, I'll just select that my classic self-healing is enabled and I have not enabled the AI self-healing feature. So my expectation from this test case, since self-healing is enabled, and I know self-healing prevents from failure, so my expectation is it will heal my object and allow the test case to pass. But in real world, no, it won't happen because there is no identifier I have used. I just have written ABC. There is no node, no absolute path, no reference of any object. Nothing has been given to that object. So my classic self-healing is not able to heal it for me. And as a result, my test case encounters a failure. Now what I'll do is I will again go to my test case. This is to enable the AI self-healing. So I enable it. Then in the project level, I again go to the self-healing, and this time after enabling the classic, I will enable the AI self-healing as well. And then I'll execute the same test case one more time. The locator is still ABC. So then I'll again run it. Now this time, again my expectation, let's say the last time I saw that it got failed and self-healing was not able to heal that. So this time also my expectation is I don't think so it will work and it might fail. But let's see what's happening. Yeah. So this time it got pass. Now in the logs part, in the log viewer, if I go over here and check, my self-healing is actually pass and it will now give me an insight that this is what the failure looks like and this is being proposed pass for my object, and if you allow it will just heal the broken locator for you. It will go to the insights, and this is just the logs which talks you through about how it looks like. Okay, I have a question. Do we need to have both classic and AI enabled? See, classic is enabled by default. And when we have AI self-healing enabled, this is just to show that if classic is enabled and a test case got failed, how powerful is this AI self-healing, which can actually heal the locator and give you all the possible fix for that particular locator. So you need not to have both enabled. If you have AI enabled, it means AI is enabled, classic is enabled. If you disable classic and only allow the AI self-healing to enable, that will also work. You need not to have both, but classic is enabled by default just to prevent you from failures. Okay, Studio Assist. Yeah. Studio Assist with MCP. So in the last releases, we have rolled out Studio Assist, which is an AI capability, which is capable of generating the code, generating any sort of test data, and also helps you in explaining if you are interested in understanding how Katalon writes this code for me or what is this code actually doing for me. So you can take the help of uh, Studio Assist in order to get all those information. This time we have introduced Studio Assist with MCP. What it means is we have given more power to Studio Assist. Now to show you the next part, what MCP actually means is model, context, and protocol. We have trained the model with some context, and the context over here depends on what type of model. Are we like training it for Katalon Studio, Katalon desktops, or Katalon, let's say, documentation? MCP servers are available for all the major applications, whether it starts with Atlassian or you have it for ServiceNow or whether you have it for Figma. So all those things are, and the protocol depends on how you connect to that server, either using HTTP or SSE connection. Now, this is how the model looks like, the Studio Assist MCP. The Studio Assist is in the core, and you can see the built-in servers that we have: Katalon MCP, Katalon core capabilities, and HTTP custom servers as well. Now, these three servers are being linked to the different part. If you're using Katalon MCP, you are basically talking about the Katalon documentation. If you are connecting to the HTTP, you are extending the power. You have more capabilities in understanding the custom keywords that we have. And on the right hand side, you can see that Catalan Studio MCP is connected and all the methods are listed under that, and every method is nothing but doing a certain task or certain functionality for you. Okay. Now, few of the use cases that we usually perform with Studio Assist with MCP, the first one is, let's say you have some documentation and you want to search for the release notes, or maybe you want to understand what is the latest in Catalan Studio. You can directly ask the Studio MCP that, hey, give me the latest update from the documents. So I'll show you this one. So now it will connect to the MCP because we already have three inbuilt MCPs for you. It's just showing you this is how the MCP looks like. Catalan MCP, Catalan Studio MCP is already connected, and you can search all the documentation related stuffs or things on in terms of Catalan Studio is listed in the Studio MCP part. These are just allowing the calls and everything. And next, let's say we ask the Studio Assist search Catalan documentation and let's know what new in the studio. So maybe you give the version, or you want to specifically look for any documentation. You just tell the engine, search it for me and bring me or summarize me what's the latest and what we have new in terms of Catalan Studio. So it is now running the particular method or the function that is being part of it, and it gives you all the release notes highlights. Of course, this thing, if you go to catalondocs.catalon.com release notes version, you will able to find that, but there you know where to search. Here, you just give the command plain prompt that what you are looking for, and it will give. And now let's say I'm again interested in saying how to use the mobile test self-healing part. Okay, so this is how it tells you everything, because right now I'm more interested in learning through the documentation, or interested in seeing the documents that we have. It's connected to the documentation part. The second use case is I need to create a test case using Catalan MCP. So I need to create a new test case using MCP. So is MCP powerful enough to create entirely a test case for me? Let's see. See. Oh, wait. Yeah. So what we have given is, I've given it, let's say, given in plain prompt that what I need to go, given a URL and say that click on this object and fill up the information for me, and let's see how that works. Okay. This is just to show that how many these thing methods are getting executed, and the output is that I get the test case inside test cases login test case. So if I double click on this, this is how my test case looks like using Katalon MCP. And this is just to import the statements. If I have given that import the correct statements as well, then it will does that for you. And now when I'm running it, you'll see it is able to actually execute this particular scenario for you. Okay. Next one is create and update test object. So if you want to create the test objects, just in the last one, you have seen how test objects are being created just by giving prompt. So in order to, our test objects is already created and you want to update it, yes, you can do that. The fourth one we'll talk through. Wait, troubleshoot and fix the issue. This is more commonly and widely being asked by end users that, okay, if something gets impacted or the execution is failing, how I can fix it. Is there any way? It does MCP allow me to fix that for me? Yes, it does. Let's see how. So over here, what is happening in line number 20, we have deliberately given the wrong syntax, or the, you say open browser, we have removed the name R and tried to execute the test case. And definitely we encountered a failure because this is not a valid keyword within Katalon, but it somehow fails. As a new user to Katalon, you don't know where to troubleshoot. Maybe you write to support, or you look for different documents, or maybe you try to understand the error logs. But with MCP, what I'm saying that my test case get failed, fix it for me, and here is the error log. So when I give the error log to MCP, it start analyzing the error log and suggested me the fix, that what the fix looks like. Now, it's up to me. If I need to follow the steps in order to make this test case pass, I'll follow the steps. But I feel like, no, I don't want to follow the steps. I want the MCP to fix the test case for me. So I'll say, update the script for me. I'm not fixing anything. So now, again, it will analyze, it will apply the suggested fix to that particular test case. And then when I refresh it, you will see in the line number 20, the open browser keyword is back to normal without any error or any spell checks. Okay. Yeah. So I just refresh it once and see line number 20 get fixed. So now if I want to run it, my browser will get open. So this is very powerful thing that you can actually troubleshoot a particular piece of error, and you are able to fix that using the power of MCP. Okay. Yeah. Right. So next one, this is API test case generation. Similarly, not only limited to web, you can also generate API related test cases using Studio Assist. But the one that I'm mostly interested in showing is connect Atlassian MCP server. Now, whatever I have shown you till now is related to Katalon only, either Katalon Studio MCP, or it is Katalon Desktops MCP, or it is Katalon Studio MCP. Now we were able to connect to external MCP, which is Atlassian. Now, let's see how it works. So to connect to an MCP, the protocol needs to be defined, and this is all you can find in the documentation of the particular tool that you're looking to connect, whether it is Atlassian. So you need to search for Atlassian MCP details. If it is Figma, you need to connect to Figma MCP details. So you need to approve that, yes, you want to connect to this MCP. How it will validate? It will validate through once you log in to that particular application, and then just close the window back here, refresh it, and here the Atlassian server gets connected. MCP, the Atlassian MCP gets connected. Now, okay, so I have another question. Do the Studio Assist AI agent have the capability of using our existing keywords instead of using the basic steps like this? For example, login scenarios. If you already have sub test case that does that, can the AI agent search the test case in our repo and use it? If you're talking about the project repository, like in your project, if you have written something and you want the agent to um, connect our agent to communicate with that particular keyword? Yes. And it's not about using the basic steps. If you're complex steps you have written in your test case, and if you're talking about that my keyword is present within my Katalon project, will MCP can interact or communicate with that? Yes, it can. Now the next thing, this is something, my requirements are within Jira and I want to convert a Katalon scripts from that particular requirement directly from requirement to automation script. So I already connected to the Jira instance. I'll show you how to connect it. Next one, here it is says that get the requirement from the Jira ticket. There is a ticket number, of course, within Jira. And what it needs to do is you create a test case of this, make sure to import all the statements that are necessary, capture the objects and put it in the object repositories. Let's see how it works. Okay, so again, it starts working on and run through the get Jira issue function, which it means the ticket number that you have provided, it will search it is a valid ticket or not, analyze the report, sorry, analyze the ticket, and then it will generate the test case for you. Okay. Yeah. This is how the test case looks like. Now, when you run it, it will execute it. Yeah. So it just reads your requirement and gives you an entire test case. So now we are approaching towards the end and we have completed the MCP Studio part or the Studio Assist. Now we are moving to the test ops. The first thing that we have in test ops is AI report root cause analysis or analyst. Like we have different analysts for you. What it is capable of doing is if there is a failure, wait a minute, yeah. If there is a failure, my test case is failed. So let's see how this AI reports or the AI root cause analysis actually works. So after the execution, let's say if something is failed, so the AI can analyze what type of a failure and can suggest you a couple of fixes or trying to identify if there is a fix possible for this error or not. So when you see the report, it will first fail, then we'll go to the HTML report to see the how the failure looks like. Now here, we try to identify the particular thing. Of course, here self-healing, the classic one is enabled, not the AI one. Then of course it got failed because we try to see whether it can execute. And after the failure, we'll see how the failure looks like and what are the possible cause for the failure identified by the engine. Okay. So now we go to the reports. So we know that it got failed because of some object is not present or not able to click on that object. Now if I open this one, okay, so here I'll just pause it for a second. And it say the test failed because the Spark selector used to locate the object is not valid and cannot be traversed through and unable to interact with the required element. So now by this analysis, we know that, okay, some one of my object locator is not properly referenced within the project and we are not able to traverse through it. Okay. Next one, we'll just fix it and rerun it because now we know it. AI in test ops. Now, when we talk about AI in test ops, we first thing we have visual testing. Of course, visual testing is capable of comparing visuals to different comparison. It can be pixel, it can be layout, and it can be content, which is text-based. Second, we have AI reports dashboard, which talks you through about failure categorization and root cause analysis. So the root cause analysis you have seen in the reports as well, but what we have in desktops is on the right hand side, if there is a failure, the root cause will define that what the failure looks like and the categorization of the failure. Like you are not sure what type of a failure is it? Is it automation failure? Is it like data related failure? Is it like my syntax related failure? What type of failure it is? So let the engine decide it for you and categorize it correctly for you. Second one, we have the AI summary for dashboard. We are working on a project where I have, let's say, multiple test scenarios I'm running day in, day out with different platforms involved in my testing activities. And one day, or maybe I would like to understand what is my key take from this project, where this project is heading. Do I need to deploy more users or more engineers who can finish it? I am behind schedule or not. So AI dashboard will summarize everything for you, that what are the key trends going on, what are the red flags that has been identified, what you should focus on your next periods, and all the available resources for you, because all the analytics that it does, you have it at one place, which is AI summary for dashboard. And of course, you can share this summary or share the dashboard to anybody you want. Now we are approaching towards the end, so we will talk through some of the best practices. So best practices in terms of Katalon Studio is always we need to have external library management. Like if you're using external libraries in your project, it might happen that you're working on a custom scenarios where you are required to have some custom keywords which are dependent on external libraries. So yes, you can make sure you, whenever you share the project or you collaborate with your team member, you share the libraries as well, or you make sure to have the list of the libraries. Test Cloud, when you talk about, we have the different best practices that Test Cloud, you can use the live testing UI inspector to have the correct object locator, because maybe like web also we have objects in mobile and that might resembles differently. So it's a best practice that you always pay attention to what you are actually recording, what you are actually interacting with. CI/CD integration is like best practices with the tunneling most of the time. Like normal, if you're going through any application which is not having much security aspects, you can go through the live normal CI/CD approach. That's completely fine. But if just in case you are using an application which is highly secured, and the approach says that you can use the tunneling approach as well. Now, the test ops part, of course, you can use the manual capabilities, you can use the repository management, you can use all the AI capabilities that I showed, just just to make sure that you are used to it and you know how, and you make yourself comfortable with this AI features, and you know, okay, this is like just flash. I'm able to get this information from the desktops part. That brings to the end of this particular webinar. I again thanks everyone who joins and takes time for this webinar. And of course, the window is open for next 5 minutes for any questions, and then we can wrap it up. Yeah. Any questions?